everybody. Welcome to LaRue's room. How we doing tonight?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Well, yours truly, Mamba Stapes, your host. I'm here. It's been what, a week? It's been a long week, man. I've been looking forward to this interview for a couple weeks now. So we got Jason Vincent, the WBF Vice President. It's good to have you here, man. Appreciate you for joining.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
glad to be on, man. Thanks for having me on. Like you said, I know we've been kind of at working at this for a couple weeks now, so finally glad to be on with you guys, man. Very grateful.
Me too, man. Me too. And then we got my co-host, always with me, MG Glass. MG
I,
Glass.
with you in voice, not in face this time. Not.
Yeah, you're in Atlanta, man. You're a big time traveler, so I can't
Hey,
I
I
can't
want I
knock
want
that.
to see his face next time I come on, though. I got to see his
Yes,
face.
sir.
I got you. Yeah, that you gotta put a name to the face so you can distinguish between the Marcuses. It can't be just with the name.
Hey,
There you
YouTube,
go, brother.
YouTube. If you
Yeah.
see this, I might have like a Photoshop face, so please enjoy. Please enjoy.
He gonna find the worst one. I will authorize that. That's my punishment. I'll authorize that.
Hey, man, you know it. If you authorize it, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Let's start with you, Mr. Vincent. So, talk to me a little bit about your journey, man. I know you're vice president of the WBF, but how'd you get here, man? What was your journey?
Well, let me take a deep breath here, man. It's been quite a journey, but I was just a kid from Las Vegas here, born and raised in the fight capital of the world. So I think
Nice.
that was most definitely a plus plus on my side. I was a pretty hyperactive kid growing up. I'm 50 years old now. I've been playing sports competitively since I was four, so I got about 46 years of soccer, football, baseball, basketball every season
Real
Everything.
quick.
and
Sorry for interrupting.
everything.
Real
Yeah, my
quick.
mom. Back then you didn't really have video games. You old people remember Atari or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
ColecoVision. But we grew up in the '70s and '80s. We were outside kids, had a lot of energy. Like I said, I was a little bit ADHD, or they even have that back then. It was just ADD.
Hmm.
But yeah, so parents kept me round robining, with the sports scene, and just been a fan of and love sports and athletics and working out and training and coaching people my whole life.
Really quick. Really quick. I have a
Yeah.
question. What was the one that you tell your kids that you could have went pro in out of all those?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, I'm going to say soccer,
Okay.
Ooh,
and
okay.
and I did not care for soccer. It was something my dad forced on me. So I
Hmm.
played soccer for about 8 or 9 years here. We'll call it 8 years, maybe less, maybe 6 or 7. And a couple of years in a row, I led Las Vegas in goals.
Wow.
And something I don't know if I'd go pro because they didn't really have a pro scene back when I go, but I probably would have got a scholarship
Hmm.
to a college.
What position did you play?
Um,
Striker.
Striker.
Okay.
Back then, striker, with striker and a little bit of wing and backup goaltender. And
Okay.
then baseball, I played baseball 2 years, made the All Star team my first year, made majors the first year. I didn't have to go to minors or double A or whatever they call it now. And I played second base and a little bit of outfield in baseball. Like I said, made the All Star team my first year at it. And then football, I played safety and defensive back. And basketball, obviously point guard. I was point guard. I was pretty athletic and stuff. And then I did all the intramurals in school. I did some wrestling, and we really got into basketball. It was the mid '80s. The Dominique Wilkins, the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan era,
Most
Isaiah Thomas. So it really had started taking off from the late '70s basketball into the new generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were on the basketball court every day after school, man. Rode some skateboards and stuff, but we were on basketball court every day, man. Those were
Okay.
days.
Nice. That's the way to do it. I honestly, I don't have any kids, but if and when I do, and I know it's tough with the technology now, I would be very very sad if they weren't coming home late after and breaking curfew because they were out hooping
Yeah.
or playing
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like that.
Both my kids did that. My son's 20 now. He started Taekwondo at 4. He did about 8 or 9 years of mixed martial arts. He competed in judo, jiu-jitsu, and in Taekwondo.
Nice.
Then he started getting burnout on him. I didn't force him, but I tried to string it along as I could.
Hmm.
I could see it was making him unhappy. I said I didn't want to be the dad that I had that ruined it for me. So I said, all right, son, take a break, don't do it. But I go, you got to do something else.
Yeah.
And when he was in kindergarten, first grade, he played the guitar, and I played piano, and he played for all those years. And he was in seventh grade, so he quit the martial arts, and he picked up the guitar for seventh grade band, and then he picked up the alto sax in eighth grade, made advanced band, and then all through high school he played in the jazz band and the regular, not the marching band, but the school band. Played the alto sax, and he got good grades and passed and worked at the taco shop down here. And I'm like, dude, you're cool.
That's the most
You're
important
cool with
thing.
me. You did something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Keep. It's always good to keep kids busy in things, especially if they're also interested in it, and that's big for sure.
Yeah.
Glass, I'm
So same thing with my daughter. She's been dancing. She's been in dance since she's 2.5. She's 12 now, and we don't force it on her. She just loves it. She's one of those ones that just love it, and she
Mhm.
made it all. She's going into seventh grade this year. Made advanced dance. She did some gymnastics there for a while, and about 5 years of acting in school. Little drama kids after school. She even got signed by a talent agent out here as far as a actress. He hasn't got any work yet, but Vegas is they're trying to make Vegas East LA or
yeah.
East Hollywood now. Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg and all of them are opening up big studios here
Mhm.
and all that. So instead of flying actors out here, extras, and giving them a per diem and putting them up in a hotel room, they can just save all that money and costs
Go
and just
local.
train people out here. Yeah.
Yeah. Go the local route. Yeah. I'm
Glass,
sure land is
Glass, it's so
cheaper out
crazy.
there.
I don't mean to cut you off, but like Jason and his family, they've accomplished everything, every sport, every activity. There's nothing they haven't
Yeah.
done yet.
Yeah.
We got a lot to learn, guys. So just always learning, dude. That's one thing I teach my kids is love what you do what you love. Learn. If you don't love something anymore, that's all right. You might have to string it out and do it for a while, but have an exit plan on the next mountain that you want to climb.
Love that.
So, and they've seen me go through these ups and downs and boxing and martial arts, and they've been along for the journey. Um, I probably worked, I lost count, I don't want to exaggerate. I probably worked over 250 amateur and professional events
Wow.
as a promoter, co-promoter, coach, boxer, trainer, play-by-play commentator, matchmaker, referee, judge. I've refereed about 500 amateur fights, all the way up to Olympic qualifiers, local, regional, and national. And then
Hmm.
I've judged about 1,000 amateur and professional fights, all the way up to Olympic qualifiers. And so
Wow.
I'd say they go on probably half of my trips. So like this weekend, the girls are flying to Boston. My wife and daughter are flying to Boston to see my wife's dad there. My
Hmm.
son's on his way back from San Diego. We just bought him a brand new Mazda. He went out there to see a girl, and he's on his way back. But I'm taking for Father's Day. I'm taking my mother and my sister. I'm picking them up tomorrow morning. We're driving to San Diego. I've done it 4 out of the last 5 years, not the COVID years.
Yeah.
It's an amateur event, but it's my favorite amateur event. It's the Battle of the Badges, and it's in San Diego Harbor on the USS Midway Aircraft Carrier
Yeah.
Museum.
Yeah.
It's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Border Patrol, Correction, Police, Firemen. They all battle it out. The Navy SEALs parachute in with the smoke off their feet, and they
Ooh,
got the bagpipes and the color guard. And go ahead.
I love that. No, I'm reacting to that, man.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was in the Navy. So
Thank you.
back to, back
Thank
to
you
me,
for
I
your.
guess I played sports all the way up to about 15, 16. Um, Kind of had some dad issues, little anger issues. So
Mhm.
I fought a lot in the street. I was smaller and had a little chip on my shoulder, pretty athletic. So I did a lot of fighting in the streets.
You were putting
I was a
people
good
down.
kid, but just, what's that?
You were putting people down.
I was holding my own. I lost a few. I won more than I lost. I
Yeah.
won, and I was just athletic probably. So, and who knows?
Yeah.
But those fights, it was maybe 10 punches are thrown and then it gets broken up, and that's there you go. You got to fight a street
Yeah.
fight. But
Those fights are
um,
half max usually.
2 minutes.
I 2 minutes, yeah, yeah. People don't realize that you start throwing, and it's not even throwing the punches. Yeah, that's tiring. It's your nerves.
Hmm.
You're not, you don't know how to breathe right. You're holding your breath. You're scared. Your
Adrenaline.
nerves is really, really drains you. People don't realize that, but also throwing punches too. People aren't used to winging punches,
Right.
dude. And you're loading up on everyone, trying to kill the guy and knock his head off his shoulders. But
Yeah.
so I did that. I met my wife my sophomore, junior year of high school. She's 1 year younger than me, and fell in love with her. Calmed me down a lot. Joined the Navy at 17. I wasn't even 18. My mom had to sign me up. Went in the military a couple years. Did my thing. Traveled all over Asia. I was stationed in San Diego and up in Oakland, Alameda, the Bay Area, San Francisco, a little bit in Long Beach, and then Hawaii, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Guam, Japan, Philippines, Australia. Did that whole circuit.
Oh, nice, nice.
Got some good discipline. Saw the world. Grew up a little bit more. Came back. My girlfriend, wife now, waiting for me. We moved in together. Been married 24 years. Been together 34 years. So that helped out a lot.
For sure.
When I got out, that from 20 to about 30, 20 to 29, I was I guess, a wannabe bodybuilder. Pounded weights and all that, but still had a little aggression to me. So we were pregnant with my son, and I wanted some other outlets. I'm like, all right, no more going out and hanging out and drinking beer or traveling the world like my wife and I did. It's time
Yeah.
to get some hobbies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I walked into, you guys probably remember this guy. It was a place called Family Jiu Jitsu here on the northwest side of Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
And, the head coach was Roy Nelson, Big Country. You guys remember Big
Mm.
Country from the UFC with the
Uh,
Big Billy?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
that was my first gym I went
Yeah.
to.
That's funny.
That's
And
nice.
well, Vegas is full of all these. Well, I got some more that you'll recognize too. But started with some judo and a little bit of kickboxing and Muay Thai. I had some coaches, little dudes from Israel that were taught by guys from the Dutch guys, Netherlands guys. That
Mhm.
Netherlands is big for kickboxing. And did a little bit of jujitsu with Roy. I left there, went to a gym called Excel, which was kind of a cop, fireman, military they catered to, and
Mhm.
started up with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Started up with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Team Mika and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu here. I was with them off and on for about 15 years. So really got into Jiu-Jitsu, fell in love with it. So did that for a while, competed, and then met my first boxing coach there, Coach Jose Gonzalez, who was a national champ here at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. They were national champs, and he won Fighter of the Year.
Wow.
And he was trained by Skipper Kelp, who was a famous professional boxer,
Uh-huh.
and Coach Franklin there, and him and I just bonded and became friends. And our sons were the same age; they became friends. And I always loved boxing, like you guys. The late '70s, early '80s, Boom Boom Mancini and the Four Kings: Leonard,
Yeah.
Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. Camacho, all those guys I fell in love with. Boom Boom Mancini, kind of reminded me of myself a little bit. So I was a big fan of him and always liked it. And he really made me love it. I fell in love. I learned how to throw my hands properly and it came easy to me. And that was 17, 18 years ago and trained many, many, many years in that and coached and all that. And then we'll wrap it up here. Long story short. About 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, I came to a gym called Never Quit Boxing Gym with Coach Ramon Montano. He was famous for being Mayweather's sparring partner back in the day,
Oh.
and he asked me to be a USA Boxing coach. So I got certified with USA Boxing as a coach. And then I had a good friend of mine, Coach Julio Rosario, who was there at the time
Mhm.
talked me into going to Roy Jones Jr. tournament that he had here at UNLV, the Thomas and Mack Center,
Mm-hmm.
because they had a referee officials clinic.
Uh-huh.
Like, let's go down and learn the rules. I'm like, I don't want to. I got to work today at Caesars. I bartend at the pool at Caesars. I've been there 26 years. And let's go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of burnt out and it's 110 degrees. Let's go down and learn the rules. So went down there and they taught me and trained me. And I think I missed the test by 2 points. And they corrected it for me. And the guy Don Rivera, he's retired now. He's an AIBA guy, a high level Olympian referee. He's like, "Hey, you got a white shirt on you?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Put it on and go over there to the gloving table, the inspection table." Boom! They kicked me right out there and started working there. And
What a reward.
I mean,
What a reward.
it
yeah,
reward, but also, man, that's nerve wracking. That is nerve
Yeah.
wracking.
Yeah, you learn a lot at the gloving table. I tell everybody don't shy away from it. Don't think you're too good for it. Even when I was a level two or testing for level three, or I would always go to the gloving table and make sure those guys were okay over there, give them a bathroom break. And, people grow out of that spot, but it's a very important, it's your inspection table. It's like working for the Nevada State Athletic Commission and being an inspector. You're checking obviously amateurs headgear, but mouthpiece like pros and drone protector and making sure the hand wraps are wrapped properly and signed and there's no weird stuff going on with them and making sure you got the right weight class with what ounce gloves they get. If it's 140 and below, 141 and below, then they get 10 ounces. If it's above 141, then they get 12 ounces. They got a glove up in front of you. So it's an important position. But I grew from there. We started timekeeping, started judging, started practicing refereeing, got into refereeing. Obviously, I told you I ref 500 bouts and moved up to level two. Went to regional tournaments. One of my favorite was the Silver Gloves regionals in Compton, California, at the Oscar De La Hoya Center there. I think we're Region 8 out here, so it's Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Arizona. And then gone to national events, Western Qualifier in Reno, Junior Golden Glove National, Mesquite, Nevada, Last Chance Qualifier in Oxnard, California. I did the Nationals in Shreveport, Louisiana. It was great. I learned a lot there, got a lot of experience, and just grew from there. And I'll let you guys got any questions on that point? There's a little bit more to go, but I'll take a breather here. You guys got anything?
The question I have, man, like notable names that you've seen over the years as they were an amateur, who would you say? Like maybe your top three.
So like I said, since I was in the amateurs as an official for about 7 years, cash flow of Floyd Diaz, every single one of the Vargas boys,
Mm-hmm.
Emmy Vargas, Amato Vargas, Fernando Vargas Jr.,
Talented.
Robert Merriweather, who had over 100 fights. Who do we have? Shakir Stevens
Mm-hmm.
back then when he was an amateur towards the tail. So anybody that's been in the pros for 6 years or less, I probably saw at a national event. Uh, Milton out of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's with Top Rank. Cormel Moten, who had 150 amateur fights. I think it's 3 or 4-0 as a pro. You guys will hear that name. He's signed by Mayweather.
Hey,
Signed him when he was
that kid's the
14. You
truth.
guys know Cormel. I rep him all the time at Knucklehead Gym. I've known Cormel since he was what is he, 17 now? Because he's not even 18 yet.
Nope.
He got a pass from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I've had Cormel since he was 9 or 10.
That is
I've
insane.
had Amy Vargas since he was 10 or 11. Amato since he was 12. Fernando Jr. since he was 13 or 14. Cash flow. God, everybody in California. There's so many names. I can't even think, man. There's so many names. But like I said, anybody that you see like with Top Rank, all these high level guys, Choo Carrington. There you go. Bruce Carrington. I
Mm-hmm.
just refed him at Knucklehead, his pro sparring at Knucklehead for this camp, the fight that he just had. I had
Yeah,
him. Coach K was in the amateurs at that time. Go ahead.
no, I was saying that I was just heard the name and I heard Shushu and I was like, oh man, I just seen him.
Shoot,
Yeah.
Really,
Shushu's a beast, man. I think he gives
yeah,
he gives Inoue some fits. I really do. I really do think so.
Dude, he is such a humble young man and
Mm-hmm.
he's funny, dude. He's a funny dude. He cracks at your sparring. He was sparring when he came over to the Knucklehead Boxing Gym over here, which is Manny Pacquiao and Sean Gibbons' private gym. Sean Gibbons is
uh-huh.
Manny Pacquiao's manager and president of MP Promotions, and then they run Viva Promotions there too, which is some Brendan Gibbons runs. But he came over there because we've been going to DLX Gym, which is on the west side of town here, where Coach K and his team are at, and Carrington's there. But they reciprocated and came over to us, and he sparred some high level guys. But then he sparred Brady Ochoa, who I had in the amateurs, who's 17, who's 2-0 as a pro, getting ready to be 3-0 as a pro. And Brady had sparred him a little bit at DLX, and Choo Choo went medium level on him, and every once in a while, if you saw him slipping, Choo Choo would crack him a little bit. But he would explain to him what he was seeing and what he was doing, especially outside the ring. He's like, Brady, come over here, let me talk to you. And he was
Yeah, yeah.
breaking stuff down for Brady, and it was really cool to see, dude. He's not
That's
arrogant or cocky, or he's a good young man, man. He's a high quality
especially
guy.
that young. That's definitely like a great quality to have
Yeah.
being that young in the game to still reach back. You know what I mean? Because it helps you as well. As you're going along to reach back and it pointing out things like that on the spot. Like it proves he's always thinking, which is obviously a great quality to have.
And like you said, it helps him too. You're coaching someone, but as you're coaching someone, you're coaching yourself.
Exactly,
That's what you're
exactly.
doing. So Richard Torres Jr. is another guy I had
That kid can
Okay.
crack
in the
too.
amateurs.
That kid
Yeah,
can
that's
crack.
Yeah,
fact.
good. I had him. All those guys, Tiger Johnson at national events.
Shout out to Tiger. I
You said
love him. Oh,
Duke Regan, who's kind of fell off the map, but he was signed by Top Ring out of the. All those guys that were in the last couple Olympics,
yeah.
we saw in the
I'm
amateurs. So.
I'm assuming Keyshawn Davis as well. Maybe he's top
Keyshawn
ranked, right?
Davis, yeah, Keyshawn
Yeah.
Davis. I did a
Okay.
lot of tournaments in Vegas here and a lot in Southern California. So you
Okay.
could
Okay.
imagine everybody from Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, but just all the people in Southern Cal,
Yeah.
maybe Fresno all the way down, Bakersfield all the way down, all those names that are in there. These are tournaments that Oscar De La Hoya fought at, Joet
Yeah.
Gonzalez fought on. These are guys, these are tournaments that Fernando Vargas fought on,
Yeah. Yeah. Way
20
back.
something years ago.
I was gonna say way back. I live in Arizona now. Did you ever see either one of the Benavidez brothers?
I think they were out by the time I got in. They're in Mesa, Arizona. It's one of my favorite tournaments. I've done the Gene Lewis tournament there in Phoenix or Mesa, Arizona. I go down there because you guys got Whataburger down there, and we just got one here. It's on the
Dude,
strip, but we don't have any
yours.
Whataburger here. That's why I go to Houston, Texas, Shreveport,
Yep.
Louisiana, Mesa, Arizona, because that spicy ketchup's
it
phenomenal.
is.
I understand. I have one 3 minutes from my house. I live in Central, but I have one 3 minutes from my house, and that's always my late night meal. So I
Oh, dude. My mom was born in
right around.
Mexico. We're white. My mom was born in Mexico, but she grew up in El Paso. So we used to go there during the summers
Yeah, yeah.
and get it. And I'll be in Brownsville, Texas, July 4th week and July 6th. I'm doing four WBF title fights. And they
Wow.
got like they got like four Whataburgers there.
Oh,
So
you're gonna
I
rep
don't
them
even, I'm gonna
both.
be honest with you guys. I hope you still like me. I'm gonna give you a disclaimer here. I haven't
That's fine.
eaten meat in like 7 years. So I get the grilled cheese sandwich, some
Okay.
fries, a drink, and I just dip the grilled cheese and the fries in that spicy ketchup, and I'm happy.
Hey man,
We'll
that's all that
allow
matters.
it. We'll allow it.
As long
There's
as you're
next
happy.
time you're in Arizona. If you come back to the tournament, you were talking. First of all, foremost, I have to check that out. I know some good vegetarian and vegan spots out here. I can
Yeah, awesome.
shoot. You can get the
Yeah, I did
spicy
it
ketchup.
I was like a 2 or 3 time a day meat eater, but as I got my late 30s and early 40s, if I ate like Mexican food or like spicy Thai food or Chinese, I started breaking out in rashes,
Ooh.
and it just get worse, 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 and worse. And then I quit eating meat, and I didn't do it cold turkey because, like I said, hey, you lift weights, you got to train, you got to eat protein. So I did like 5 out of 10 meals, no meat. Did
Hmm.
that for about a month, got past the headaches and the weirdness. Went to 6 out of 10. Did that for a couple weeks. Went to 7 out of 10. And after about a week out and doing the 7 out of 10, when it was the time to eat the meat, it just grossed me out. The smell, the texture, just
Yeah,
that was it. I was done. And then
yeah,
all my cholesterol and sugar levels and all the rashes, they all went away, man. So I don't know if it was the antibiotics or the steroids or what that's in the food that
yeah.
made me break out in rashes. So
That's a blessing though,
I,
man. You were able to kind of get past that and honestly live a healthier life. That's a major blessing.
and like he said, there's so many vegan options now. It's not like being and I'm not a vegan because I can't give up cheese. I tried that and I put egg
I,
back into my diet.
grilled cheese. I knew when I said vegan, I was like, I'm not dealing with. You didn't go full.
I did for
Yeah.
a minute. I did for a minute for about a year. I got through my fight. It was during when I was training for my fight, and then I slowly added egg in. Now I eat egg two or three, four times a week, and not that I'm a big cheese guy, but man, I want some nachos every once in a while or something, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
gotta have something. So
Stuff. You're working hard.
yeah, yeah. So, but anyways, so yeah, I'll hit you up if I go down there. Like I said, I didn't re-register with the
Okay.
amateurs this year, but definitely check that tournament out. I think they're like at the 54th annual Gene Lewis tournament, Phoenix,
Okay.
Mesa, Arizona, down there, dude. It's a huge tournament, three rings, six, seven, 800 competitors. You know, it's a great tournament down there, man. It's an awesome tournament. It's one of my favorite ones. So,
Now, Jason,
but
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So I know, time wise, man, I wanted to kind of get into what brought you to the WBF association and
Yeah.
how you landed that opportunity.
So, with everything that I've kind of told you up to date, we'll fast forward about a year and a half ago. I did travel around and go to some pro conventions. Got certified by the WBA at their convention. Got certified with the WBC online as a ref and judge. Did some ABC's American Boxing commissions. Did their training and got certified as a ref and a judge in boxing and a ref and a judge in mixed martial arts. So I did all the courses, all the training. Got my license with Colorado, and never got any work as a pro referee. Everybody, oh, you're great, you're at that level. Not never got any work. So still was trying to pursue that dream. And Paulie Saunders, the senior vice president of the WBF, reached out to me on Facebook on Messenger and said,
Hmm.
"Hey, Jason, what do you think of this?" Told me everything about the WBF and sent me pictures and flyers and all this different stuff. And I said, you know what? That sounds interesting, dude. It sounds like something I might be interested in. And I go, let me sleep on it tonight. And I'll get back with you tomorrow. And then Mick Croucher jumped in on it, and they kind of tag team me, I guess, to close the deal. Mick Croucher's the president, and I got him. I jumped on board with them, and I'm glad I did. It's a great decision. I've learned so much about the sport, on the other side of the sport, not being an official or a coach or an athlete or a trainer. On this side of the sport, like I said, there's many different lanes in boxing,
Right.
and I've been with them for a year and a half now. They didn't have much going on in the United States at the time. I'll give you a quick little history lesson on the WBF. We are
Uh,
the World Boxing Foundation. We are the original WBF. It started in 1988, the same year the WBO came out. So back then, you didn't have the big four. You didn't have the IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO. And I think I said IBF, but yeah, the WBC and the WBA. The IBF came on board, I believe, in 1983. And by
uh,
1988, I don't even know if the WBF was a big three yet. They were still growing. So we came out the same year as the WBO. This belt was a popular belt here in the United States. It started in Tennessee. The guy that owned the Bristol, Tennessee racetrack was a boxing fan and started
uh,
this sanctioning body. And past world title holders were Roy Jones, who signed this. You guys can't see it, but he signed it right there. He won this in two different weight classes. James Lights Out Tony won this world title. Antonio Tarver, we all remember him, right? If you
Yep.
don't, kids, he was in the Rocky Balboa movie. He fought Rocky. Joe Cortez as a referee, my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
He won it. And then you guys remember a name by the name of Francis Botha, the White Buffalo. He fought Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson dropped him. He was a world title
He
holder of this. Oh, and many more people. Go
he
ahead.
could crack too. I just seen
He
videos
could
of
crack.
him maybe a month ago. He could crack. He could
He
crack.
still looks like he can crack. He still has the salty stash or the beard and the hair. He's still got that look, and yeah, he can still crack. So, at one point in time, the WBF was the fourth rated sanctioning body. They were doing very well in the mid to late '90s, early 2000s. Fell on some tough times. 2004, Mick Croucher from Australia, who's a former amateur and professional boxer and a judge out there in Australia. He comes from a fighting family. His dad fought, his grandpa fought, his great grandpa fought. Like 100 years of Crouchers that fought amateurs and pros. He was in charge of some of their provinces or states out there. He was in charge of their boxing commissions and stuff out there. So he bought this in 2004. So what we're saying, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
WBF's been around about 36 years now. And they were big in, or still are big in Australia and really big in the Philippines. It's a really big belt in the Philippines, but they wanted to get going in the United States. And before me, they tried four, five, six, seven, whatever amount of people, and one or two kind of did okay, but they fizzled away. And so I kind of had to build it from scratch out here, really. It was really an uphill climb, and it still is. But the one thing
Right.
that helped me is they're not a brand new company. They have been around. We have notable world champions. We have rankings. So right now we're the sixth rated sanctioning body. You got the big four: IBF, WBA, WBC, WBO,
WBO.
and then you got the IBO out of Europe and England, and then you have us. So my goal is to take over the fifth spot, and one day at a time. These four
Hmm.
belts that I'm doing are going to help, and I got many more other belts that are shows coming on with it. We just recently made a deal with Roy Jones Jr., Roy Jones Promotions,
Okay.
and Julio Marinas down in South Texas, Marinas Promotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also Dennis Hobson, GBH Promotions out of the UK, out of England. Dennis Hobson was Ricky. He's promoted over 200 events if you look at his box rack,
Mm-hmm.
and probably many more. But he was Ricky Hatton's manager on the team back in the day, and
Yep.
Joe Kawasaki, and many more. But he's a high
Uh,
level guy, and they're all really good friends. All these guys are really good friends with Sean Gibbons, so he might be the final piece. And I know Sean personally because I train my fighter. I train a professional fighter too, Michael Dos Marinas. He's got
uh,
almost 40. He's got 39 pro fights. He fights next weekend in the Philippines. Fought Noya Inoue 4 years ago at the Hard Rock Hotel at 118 pounds. Held many belts at 118, silver belts, WBC, Asian Pacific titles, and he was the fifth rated sanctioning body, the IBO. He was the world champ at 118. Had a brief cup of coffee or drink of water at 122. Had two fights there, and he's doing his third fight at featherweight 126. And his first fight, he won the WBC Asian Pacific title, ranked top 30 in the world, and he's ranked like number 19 by the WBC.
That's big.
So I manage and co-train him too. So I got that on my plate too.
That's a lot,
So
man. That's a lot.
yeah. That's a lot, for sure. That,
but yeah, that's like I said, we're part of that MP promotion and Viva promotion. So we're gonna get this fight. He's fighting for the Filipino title at featherweight. It's the GAP title, the Gaming and Amusement Board title. That's their main title. It's like a Commonwealth title over in Britain, or the NABF type title over here in the States. So he's fighting for that. And we're looking
yeah.
for bigger and better things. I see Inoue Ian was at the fights to check out Bruce Shuju
Mm-hmm.
Carrington, and
Hmm.
like I
Yep.
said,
Yep.
he might need a tune-up fight before that fight, and we're gonna have Michael hopefully fight for this world title before the end of the year in the Cayman Islands, November 2nd, in the Cayman Islands with Dennis and
Nice.
Roy and Marinas Promotions, and maybe when Inoue moves up to 126, maybe we can be his first fight. Sean Gibbons is real tight with Mr. Honda, who promotes over there in Japan, and right now Japan and Saudi Arabia are the ones that got the cash.
Absolutely.
So
I
um,
was gonna say, I was gonna bring that up because I know they were, well, they've been hot in the news for the past year or two anyway. But with them, considering, and I guess this I guess a question past this interview where we're doing your upbringing for the most part, but in your beginnings. But just a sidebar, how do you feel about the rumor that they want to just make it one, like buy like all the big promotion groups and just put it all under one?
I saw that. I just posted that all over Facebook today. So I had heard rumors of that, and I would have to. It's tough to say.
Yeah,
We always complain about all the promoters, but there's positives and negatives to everything. You
absolutely.
know, you look at the UFC, there's positives and negatives to that. I'm a huge mixed martial arts fan, or used to be. Kind of grew back into boxing, but back in the Tito Ortiz days, and Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, and
Oh yeah.
Jordan St. Pierre and BJ Penn, I loved. I loved, 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 loved it. but now it's almost oversaturated for me. I'm gonna be honest. It's almost
Yeah,
oversaturated for me because you can turn on the TV pretty much any day of the week on any network, and there's some kind of mixed martial arts cage going
Right.
on.
for sure, for sure.
So, me personally, I've lost some of the lusters, and it's lost some of those characters like B.J. Penn and Matt Hughes and George St. Pierre and Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture and Tito Ortiz.
Yeah,
It
I
kind
don't
of
think they have
lost
too
some of
many
that for
like.
me.
Not to cut you off, I don't think they have it like, and not to to shit on this sport, but they really don't have too many like bigger than life figures right now. Like
No.
They
I feel like
used
this is the
to.
first time in a long time it's been like that.
They used to, but yeah, I mean, I would say John Jones is kind of the to me,
Yeah,
or
Connor.
who's the big heavyweight that knocks everybody out and does the worm dance or whatever in the ring, you
Oh,
know.
uh, uh, Derek, not Derek.
Yeah. You know, or he
Derek,
pulls his drawers. He
Uh,
takes his
who
drawers
is
off. My
that?
Derek
butts,
Lewis, Derek
my
Lewis.
booty's hot or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Derek Lewis. I think
yeah.
that's.
But
Yeah, no, I
back
know
then
exactly what you're talking about.
you had 20 of him running around, so it's lost. It's and that's probably par for the course too. You know, in the
Yeah,
beginning, everybody's really intrigued, but I would
yeah.
have to really sit and think on this. I'm gonna say in the long run, I don't like it,
Mhm.
but I'll like it if it works out and it's good for boxing.
Right.
Yeah, I guess with the precedent set, I think we only have one precedent set, which is the UFC version of it, and they either can learn from that and do their own thing, or just kind of use that as like the skeleton and probably just follow it along, or do something completely different, obviously. But I feel like it's such uncharted territory, essentially, especially for
It
boxing. That
is. It is.
hard to tell.
Hold on, my daughter's got a phone call here. Mia, can you grab that? All right. That's what happens when you have a teenage daughter here. So now I'm on her computer because my camera won't work. All right, I
It's a
declined
blessing.
it.
It's a blessing.
But you don't when it comes to here's the corporate. Yeah, at least she's got a Rolling Stone shirt on there, right? That's my teenage daughter. I got a 20-year
Yeah,
old son. I told you he's driving. We bought him a brand new Mazda 3. He's driving back from San Diego right now. So
safe travels. Hopefully, I was there last weekend driving back. So
yeah, I told him to leave a little early so he doesn't hit that LA to Vegas traffic. So
Man.
hopefully he's in
that week,
Barstow by now and 2 hours away. But
yeah,
we do and we don't with combat or combative sports. But you do have other things like NASCAR
yeah.
and NFL and hockey, NHL and MLB.
Hmm.
So, or like NCAA. We just have the
Yeah,
NCAA. I bartend at Caesar's Palace. We have the NCAA convention there right now. And,
uh huh.
for a long time, I didn't like what NCAA did. They ran it like a dictatorship.
Absolutely.
They still do.
Now,
They
they
still
They
do.
still
still
do,
do.
but at least they're giving the kids a little bit of money now, but they still do, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's
yeah,
big time money over there. So, but how many times did we say expand the tournament or expand the college playoffs? Don't make four teams, make eight, or
yeah, yeah. Even getting to
or
that
pay the
point.
kids some money so they don't leave college early, or
Yeah,
try to sell sneakers, autographed sneakers, and you're busting them and suspending them or something.
right. It was like you can't leave after 1 year after the Maurice Claret year. It was like, all right,
Yeah, dude.
or one and done. No more. You know what I mean? And so many rules that they put so they could keep money in their pockets.
It's
And
sad
now
too.
that everyone else's pockets, they're like, all right, well, I guess we can still cut off of this as well.
Right.
So
If you make one league, you make one league. Let's face it, you're going to put a lot of people out of work.
yeah, yeah,
You're going to
that's
put a lot of ring announcers out of work, a lot of TV people, a lot of sanctioning bodies out of work. The UFC doesn't use sanctioning bodies; they use their
right.
own belts.
All in
Yep,
house.
they all their own belts, their own like the ranks that they come up in are under theirs. If you want to be a UFC fighter, like you have to pretty much be UFC unless you sign like
Or
pro.
or it might be the opposite. That's the major leagues, and then all these lower and mid level promotions might thrive because people
True.
aren't making that cut, so they got to have somewhere to go compete. So maybe the lower and mid level promotions here in America, or all over the world, will thrive. I don't know how it would play out. I'd have to see how it would play out.
I
true.
don't want
Yeah,
it.
it's
But my gut feeling is I don't want it.
I don't
y-
want
And
there's a lot of reasons that I'm not gonna get into, but
it.
the ones that I will get into, I'll just say top level. I think that the money distribution is going to be sound great in the beginning for like the first 2 years, and then after that, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Where the fighters are kind of devalued as far as like the product and like how the fights that they made for us that might not that shouldn't happen and things like that. I think this is just going to end up being. And I guess the better side is they could probably get a union out of it eventually or something, something similar to that. But I just feel like for the fighters, it's just gonna like it'll upfront sound great, and then it's gonna end up being something where we look back at 10 years like, why did we even go down this rabbit
well,
hole?
that's why you see UFC fighters taking boxing matches.
Right.
So
So
they
yeah,
fight one, they fight Mayweather once, or they fight Tyson
Ngannou,
Fury once, and that's like 15 or 20 MMA fights they would have had to fight to make that money. I
exactly.
think it could hurt the upper echelons of the money earners in boxing, but it could benefit, like you said, with union and rated round purses or whatever you get, $1,000 a round. You know, the lower and mid level guys might love it. You know, so I think it's one of those things. Some people will like it, and a lot of people won't.
But it's
Yeah,
for me, it's more so the history too. Like I mean, Bob Arum, he's been in the sport for years. So you got Bob Arum, you got Eddie Hearns, you got Al Heyman. So all these guys, man, like they're at that point they're not relevant anymore. And for me,
honestly,
you need them for boxing, in my opinion.
I think that Aaron being in his 90s is probably going to be the first one to say, yeah, let me sell this. Let me sell time.
Possibly, possibly.
But
And,
yeah, I mean, not to hate on it. Like I get it in that sense, but I mean that's a big domino if that's one of the ones that falls in that realm.
And
But
it's 5 billion collectively, correct?
I think so.
yeah, I think that's enough to buy everybody.
Yeah, like
Well, look, we'll run it back. I was when I got out of the Navy before I started bartending. I sold cars and trucks for 5 years, BMC, Buicks, GMCs, and Pontiacs. And there was Wayne Huizinga who owned Republic Industries, the Miami Dolphins, the Florida Marlins at the time, Blockbuster Video, if you guys remember
Mm-hmm.
that. And he owned or not Enterprise. He owned one of the rent a cars, Avis, or I can't remember what rent a car. So
Hertz, maybe.
he had five big companies on the stock market. Well, he started going around and buying auto dealerships. Bought all of John Elway's. I was here. He bought half the town. He had all this money, and all these owners, all these good old boys, first, second, third, fourth generation car dealer guys sold. They sold out.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, I would never say anybody's like, oh, that'll never happen. Well, 5-6 billion's a lot of money,
That's a
man.
lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
But that is, it's hard for someone. I mean, especially people that are like, I mean, we hear all the time, or at least we don't know the truth of it because I feel like it's all hearsay anyway. But everyone is essentially not making too much recruit money on these big fights, and or at least that's how it seems in the pay per view buys and things like that. So if that is truly the case, and then you get a big number and they don't have to even worry about recouping, they just gotta collect and cash in. I can see people, deciding to go that route.
It
And
happens every day in business. Someone spends 20 or 30 years building a technology company or a waste management company or a casino, and a bigger fish comes in, a big corporation comes in and buys you out.
100%, and you don't got
It
to
happens
deal with
all
it.
the time.
There's
Uh,
pros and cons. Like you might have been able. It's like cashing out the casino. You might have been able to hit those next 8 hands and had more, or you might just take what you got and you say, here, I'll take this lump sum.
and
And
cash talks, dude. I mean, a lot of these guys get bought out with a little bit of cash and a lot of stock options and all that. But if someone's just gonna wire, you know, nine
yeah,
hundred million into your account, buy Top Rank
so
off
they
you, or
got it.
buy all your contracts off you, I'd be like, all right.
And you know they got it. That's the thing. We know they have the
They
money, so
got
it's
it.
like someone that's like, yeah, they might say this, and we know that exists. They could
But
just do that.
there's a lot of infrastructure there, dude. Like UFC kind of started from scratch and grew. So the infrastructure kind of grew, whether they had bumps in the roads and all, it kind of grew. You're buying something that's, a huge, like corporation, even though it's individual promoters.
Hmm.
And are you going to have the staff and the personnel and, to come on and take this whole thing over and run it correctly
Right.
right off the top?
Right.
Seamlessly? Obviously it's not going to be seamlessly, but,
Oh yeah.
to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, nothing's ever perfect on the first try, and you can get as close as you think you can, but there's always going to be room for improvement, even if they do, essentially something that seems like the right move at the time, and also you can't please everybody, so someone's
That's a
going to
fact.
get,
I did
someone's not.
I'm going to be, I did not to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I did like the last one they did in the Middle East there, where they had Queensberry versus
Yeah,
Matchroom. Man, that
Miami
was kind of
Vice.
cool. And Dennis
Yeah.
Hobson's bringing that over to the United States October 5th back in Brownsville, Texas. I'll be doing a world title
Oh,
and some
nice.
lower titles, but it's going to be one of Dennis Hobson's British young men fighting and competing for the WBF world title against one of Roy Jones' guys. And
Uh,
then obviously Roy will have some more fighters, and they'll match up some more Americans versus the UK. And then
right.
he wants to bring that concept here to Las Vegas next year. Dennis Hobson and Roy Jones
I
do.
love that idea.
So
I love it.
I kind of liked. Not that I was thrilled to see Eddie Hearn lose 5-0 or 6-0 or whatever he lost, but it was kind of cool for bragging rights. And I watched the pre workup video. They did the 24/7 type thing they did on it,
Yeah.
and the rivalry they had between Queensberry and Matchroom, and it was kind of cool, dude. I'll be honest, it was entertaining and intriguing to me.
Agreed.
I honestly think that the only problem is what you had already said is that it was 5-0. I love the concept, and I don't think that's going to happen again with any other, like, when two promotion companies do that. But the only problem was that it was 5-0, so people like, and to the credit, the boxers got to show up. So that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. It shouldn't be to a detriment, but that was the only thing where I was like,
Well, and they
promotion.
should have motivation because the winning team get an extra 3 million or
Yep.
something?
Yeah, they had to split a pot. They got
So
to
as
split a pot.
yeah, yeah. So Queenberry, if I'm Eddie Hearn or Queenberry, they'll probably be like, "Hey, look, guys, boys, men, I'm going to
Yeah,
keep 1.5 million, and the other 1.5 million goes to fight bonuses.
right.
So you win your fight, you could get an extra two, 300,
You
$400,000.
can't
I mean,
really
that's
beat
the
that.
motivation.
You can't beat that at
Yeah,
all.
Yeah.
they signed Deontay Wilder for that fight. Like, you don't even have to make sure it's people that's on your roster. Like, if I'm not mistaken, they signed Wilder like for that fight, like, situation. Like, he
Yes.
is
I'm going
that's
to sign
like,
you, Wilder, and if you win, you get you get your purse. If you win, you get an extra 3 or 400,000. If you knock him out, because you get bonus points for knocking out, I'll give you
yeah,
whoever knocks anybody out. If you win, you get an extra 200 grand, and if you knock that person out, I'll slap you with another 100 grand. There's plenty of
yeah,
motivation.
yeah. There's a lot of incentives in that sort of style of sorry if you guys hear the car. My apologies. There's a lot of incentives that can spawn off of that, and that's what I mean by, like, the first iteration is never going to be perfect, but it's just
Yeah.
going to building off of it. And I think that it was a really good starter base, and if that's any indication of how they would run things, then yeah, it might be a good idea.
I think I don't think this is a fad, this team fight league thing. You saw it in MMA, now you see it in boxing here. Um, I don't know how high this will ever go because even when I went to Roy Nelson's gym, he was on the Reno, Nevada team who was coached by Ken Shamrock, and one of the Gracie guys from New York ran the New York whatever their team was, and so they had that back then too. And this was 20 years ago, and then you haven't seen it since. But I kind of like that concept a little bit. Now, do I want everything to be that? No,
Mm-mm.
but I kind of like that concept. And the workups, you can kind of do like a little bit of a ultimate fighter type workup, as
Yeah,
far as the TV production wise goes. And you have all these different characters like we talked about. And you see them individually, but you also see them as a team too. And I kind of like
yeah.
that concept, me personally. I like it.
Speaking,
Not go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was actually gonna. I know we're kind of at the tail end, but speaking of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some of these fights, real quick, I gotta get you guys' kind of prediction on tomorrow's fight. Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin. Who we
If
got?
you're allowed,
If you're
If you're
allowed to
allowed,
speak,
if you're allowed.
I'm not sure if
I'm
you're allowed.
allowed. I'm allowed. I'm gonna be honest because you asked me this earlier. I haven't really thought about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go against Tank Davis, he knocks someone out.
Yeah.
Um, I thought personally, Rolly was boxing him for a while, and I'm not a Rolly fan, even though I have Rolly's another one. I have the amateurs here.
If he would have
Um,
stayed on schedule,
they
he
knocked
would have.
him out, but Hector Garcia was boxing him really good,
Mm-hmm.
and Ryan was a joke that fight. I don't know what he was doing; he was a joke. But I'm not going to go against Tank Davis. He spars everybody here in town at Top Rank. He mostly goes to pound for pound boxing gym here, which is just a bunch of killers. There's Bob Santos and Rich and Luis de Cuba and all their boys there. PBC, it's a PBC gym now too. They're sponsoring it.
Right.
I just think I'm gonna have to go with Tank. I'm gonna have to go with Tank on it, man.
That's
I
fair.
keep going against Tank, and he always knocks someone. He always touches someone's chin, and that's it.
I
So
Yeah.
I can't go
I'll go
against
with
Knowing
him.
Tank.
I
And
can't.
I'll
schedule, I
be
feel
honest, I wasn't. I like Martin, but I was not impressed with his last performance at all,
Me
man.
either.
I thought it
He
was a
got bored.
horrible performance.
I
Horrible.
honestly believe that if you take that performance out of, but if you take that performance out of like his resume, people aren't as worried. I think that last performance was so like lackluster
Yeah.
that it had everybody that was even like thinking about him, which could be it could also help him because then you overlook him, but it sounds like Tank is
Underestimating, dude. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean that's the gift of the curse of having the lackluster performance before your big fight. But I think that no one stayed on schedule, and like because everyone will like for the first 5 rounds they're on schedule, they're outboxing Tank, and then at some point there's a
Yes.
switch, and they're no
Yes.
longer on schedule, and it's just like we need someone that's very very, not saying like Tank against me, or what I mean, or I'm rooting against him like type of that thing, but we need somebody to like stay on schedule the entire fight,
We not gonna
and
get it. We not
I
gonna
think it's
get
just
it.
I
tough.
thought Hector, dude. I thought Hector was going to do it, dude. He was
Yeah,
outboxing them,
Look,
but he
yeah.
quit on a stool. Yeah, you couldn't see. He got a headache or whatever he said, and he sat there. So once Tank touches you, but if you can like keep that mid to long range, but no one's been able to do it yet. So until
Yeah,
eventually someone's going to be able to do it. Cormel Moten, one of these young guys coming up, is eventually going to be able to do it with him. But as for right now, Frank Martin's a great fighter.
yeah.
I won't even hold that last performance against him because people have off performances. You remember Shakur Steven a few fights ago had a horrible performance. Um,
I think Shakur could stay on schedule,
No, he
but
can't.
that's just
oh, Shakur could stay on schedule and he'll be
wishful thinking.
motivated. And I've refereed his sparring and talk about a great young man.
Yeah.
Like we said, Bruce Carrington is a great young man. I've
Mhm.
refereed his sparring. Shakir, when he comes to the top rank gym, he walks to everybody in the gym and shakes their hand. I'm not lying to you.
I
Shakes
like
their
to hear that. I
Jason,
like to hear that.
I hear you. I hear you. And I love Shakira, but I just don't see it. I don't
I
see it.
think if we're talking about as far as like if we have to throw a name out there, somebody who I believe, because even
Shakir.
in his fight,
I have Shakir beating Tank.
You have
I
Shakir
think
beating
that
Tank?
even in his
Yeah.
last fight, even in his last
If
fight,
there's no hydration clause and cut and all that, I have
yeah,
Shakir. I have Shakir outboxing Tank
Uh,
Davis. I have it. That's my name. That's my name.
hey
You
man.
want the name? That's my name, dude.
Oh
our whole
goodness.
argument.
I'd be honest, dude. I mean, I wasn't the not I didn't know Shakir, and I want this to come out. I wasn't
Sorry, I'm walking.
a fan of Shakir's style.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
But his last 6, 7 fights, besides the one that was boringest fight I've ever seen in my life, and
yep,
Shakir ran.
yep.
And he ran, and I'll say that right now. He has grown on me, and then when I met him a few times, man, I think Shakir's top 5 pound for pound boxer right now, dude.
I
Me
agree with that.
personally.
I agree with that.
I'm with you. I agree wholeheartedly.
But I just I
And he had a bad performance and he ran. I'm going to say that. But, Floyd's had bad performances against Castillo. And I thought
No
Floyd
one,
lost to Maidana the first fight. I mean,
me too.
no
Devin
one looks
Haney did not
100%.
beat, to me, and you guys might disagree, and I've judged 1,000 fights. Hank Haney did not beat Lomachenko.
No.
We
Did
don't
not
either.
beat, he did not beat him.
No.
Did not.
We don't think so either.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Cambosa didn't beat Maxie Hughes. Cambosa landed 12% of his punches. They gave him the IBO belt, and then, that's how boxing is. Cambosa beats
Rolly didn't win
Lopez,
his
loses to
last fight.
Haney. They give him the IBO championship fight against Maxie Hughes. I had Maxie winning 9 rounds of 3. They gave it to him. He landed 12% of his punches and
Crazy.
got outlanded by 80, and they gave it to him, and then he got his butt whipped by Lomachenko. But boxing's boxing, dude. So I would
Yeah.
love to see Tank against Shakir. I'd love that fight.
Same as well. And this is where I'm gonna have to cut out. I'm sorry, guys. I'm about to walk into a restaurant. Actually.
You're good. You're good. We're almost finished.
Yeah, but I agree with you about. I will say this so Marcus can or Staples can debate you. I also believe that Shakir is the best, or as far as like the best competition he could face at the moment.
Tank Davis, hands
Tank.
down. Who else is there?
There's nobody else left.
Yeah, I mean, you got some young cats coming up, but they're 2, 3, 4 years behind this.
Absolutely.
These guys right here, and these guys will probably move up another weight class. And
Absolutely.
you got the Mason brothers, you got Emmy Vargas, you got Cormel. You got these guys, but they're years behind these guys that we're talking about right now.
100%.
100%. Well, fellas,
But, yeah,
I guess
it
we
was
will
great
stay
talking.
tuned. We will stay tuned for tomorrow. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll see what
Sorry
happens.
for cutting you short. This was a great interview. It
Great.
was so nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jason, it was a pleasure to have you, man. We look forward to having you in the future, man, and you have a good night, man. We appreciate you.
I'm very grateful to be here. Everybody, come follow me on World Boxing Foundation on Instagram. We also have Facebook pages, the World Boxing Foundation, WBF, World Boxing Foundation, not Federation Foundation. And then you can find me on Instagram, West Vegas Vincent, and then Jason Vincent on Facebook. If anybody has any questions about boxing, the WBF, USA Boxing, how to get your passbook, coach's passbook, boxer's passbook, how to become an official, hit me up, please.
I'm going to be hitting you up about the official thing because I've actually been a little interested lately. So we'll be in contact.
Let's go.
And you'll see my face.
Everybody have a good weekend, man. God bless you guys, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But you gotta pay me to do it. Ain't got no problem spending time, but you gotta pay me to do it.